Welcome back to the Diversity Project with your host, Rhonda Kulch. And today we are talking all about healthcare, and we're bringing in different guests to talk about different topics of healthcare, just to give our audience a little bit of a more well-rounded view of different resources that are available to them. Of course, episodes like this cannot take place without our sponsors, so we'd like to thank the Equity First Foundation, Jet Direct Mortgage, Indigo Restaurant, Bar and Grill over in Patchogue on Main Street, and of course our show sponsor, Lee Friedman and Associates, focusing on everything related to real estate, conveniently located in Hauppauge. So we are back in studio, and we are with just a wonderful guy. So it's just so good to see you. So I'm with actually a friend of mine, Mark Legaspi, and Mark and I have known each other for multiple years. I was on the advisory board with you with Easter Seals, where I know you hold probably one of the highest positions at this point. So welcome. I'm so glad that you came in. I haven't seen you in a while.
Yep, thank you.
So when we're talking about healthcare, and I wanted to put this segment together, you are the person that I think about when we're talking about health insurance. Obviously, you've helped my family in the past. I've referred clients of mine to you. So what I'd love to kind of go over today is, where are we with healthcare, and really resources that are available, and what you're seeing in the market, if there's any trends. So I know I hit you with a lot. So let's start with, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us who you're with?
All right, Mark Legaspi. I'm with CMM Coverage. I've been in the insurance business over 30 years. Specialize in health insurance, life insurance, property and casualty insurance. That's what we do at CMM. But on trends, think about trends of health insurance, right? So with a lot going on with COVID, especially, with the individual marketplace, it's harder and harder for people to get good coverage. Right, and the only place they really can go on an individual is through New York State, right? New York State of Health. That's really the only place anybody could go to get medical insurance on an individual basis. So what I've seen now with COVID and companies that are cutting back, and people getting laid off.
Yeah. Right.
So what happens is they come to me and ask me COBRA questions on where they can go, what they can do, on how they can carry their benefits. And COBRA tends to be pretty expensive. When people don't realize how much your employer actually pays for medical insurance, and then when they get laid off and they have to pay for it, they really look at, wow.
So is somebody forced to staying with the same carrier through COBRA, or do they have the ability to go to the marketplace and find insurance that's more affordable?
They could go to the marketplace and find more affordable insurance, and the marketplace is based on their income. So if they lost their job and their income is going to be less for the year, they may be able to get a subsidy from the federal government to help pay for it.
Okay. So if somebody was working and now they've been laid off, and it's uncertain when they will be returning back to work,
right,
going to the marketplace, how long does it take? Is there any lapse of coverage? If I'm a mom, right, and you're a dad, we always think about our children, because something bad will always happen when you're not insured.
Yeah, that's usually how it works, right?
It's always, I had that policy. Why did I get rid of that policy? Now my son broke his arm. So I'm just, curious, is there a lapse in coverage if you go from employer health care to going to the marketplace?
If you do it in a timely manner, then there's no lapse of coverage.
Okay.
As long as it's done in a timely manner, right? So a lot of people don't realize that the state has deadlines.
Okay.
So if you do not make the deadline, there's a good possibility you can go a whole month without insurance.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So now, if you are, which you are a parent, and you obviously are in charge of the health insurance, what kind of rates or premiums, I should say, what kind of premiums and coverage is out there for a family that might now be just surviving on unemployment?
Well, if they're on unemployment, New York State actually has a great plan, right, for children under 19 and under,
okay, called
Child Health Plus, right? That's a program that the state offers. It's a really great plan. Benefits are great, inexpensive if your income is low.
Okay.
Right. Even if your income is high, it still isn't a bad cost for children.
So as a family, I can separate the insurance for myself and my husband.
Correct.
compared to my children
Correct.
and get different coverage.
As long as they're 19 and under.
Okay. And obviously this is all done through the marketplace. So it's really not your, it's your specialty, but it's not necessarily the type of clients that you normally would see.
No, I help clients out. If they're existing clients, I'll help them go on the marketplace. We don't get paid on the marketplace, right? The state does not allow us to get paid, right? So I do it as a service to help people, just to guide them in directions on what they can do and what they can't do.
Now, what happens if somebody is on the marketplace and then they go back to work? Could they opt to keep the insurance that they have, that they qualified for?
Yes, they could. They definitely can. If they're happy with the plans, they're happy with the doctors. The doctors on a marketplace, the networks are smaller.
Okay.
So they don't have the selection of doctors that they would want to go see on a regular basis compared to an employer-sponsored plan.
Okay. And then what happens when they go back to work and their income has changed, but they qualified at a lower rate?
They're technically supposed to let the state know that their income has changed and it's going to be more.
Just so happened to forgot to update that. Just saying.
Right. So if they don't update it when they file their tax returns, they give the state permission to pull their returns. That's part of the authorization. And then they see what their income is, and then it gets adjusted accordingly.
Okay.
And technically, you're supposed to pay back those premiums, the subsidy that you're supposed to get.
Understood.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not really getting away with anything in the long term.
No.
Maybe
not
in the
at all.
short term if you're still readjusting financially, but in the long term there might be a payback period.
What usually happens in a situation like that is when you file your return and you think you're going to get a money back.
Surprise!
You don't get the money back because you were taking a subsidy that you shouldn't have been taking.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And in your opinion, several years ago, I know personally I had health insurance with a company. I want to say they were called Health First, but I might
Health
be
First is still around. Mm-hmm.
One of them, so maybe it wasn't Health First, one of them actually went bankrupt.
Health Republic.
Health Republic.
Yes.
That's who I had.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like any of the trends are leading that are healthcare providers, because of everything that's happening, the healthcare providers that are taking these subsidies, that they're at risk of also closing their doors?
The providers, meaning doctors?
The doctors, because they're the ones who are accepting.
No, they're not going to close their doors. What's happening in the industry is you're getting a lot of the medical practices being consumed by larger hospitals. So you got Northwell Health that's coming in, that's buying up doctors, that's buying up practices, and the doctors are starting to work for them, which is better because they can consolidate, they can do the billing differently, and everything's changing. Every insurance company has a different billing program. So that's why a lot of the doctors got to pay. Every time the doctor has to go to a hospital, work through a hospital, they pay a fee.
The doctor pays a fee
To be with that hospital. And if
to be an affiliate?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So every doctor in that aspect is paying a fee. So if they want to be part of Stony Brook, they're paying a fee. They want to be with Mather, St. Charles, there are fees involved. So a lot of doctors they're going into these large practices, so the fees that they're coming into are going to be less.
Crazy question. Don't know that you'd know the answer to this, but would it also make sense that doctors are going into the bigger, name brands, so like a Northwell? Does that mean that as they're under that brand, does it save the money and maybe their insurance? Because I've heard
it
that
does.
The insurance premiums for doctors are so high it makes it unaffordable.
It's like anything else. When you consolidate, right, and you're under one practice, you're eliminating exposure. Correct. So certain malpractices, certain benefits for the employees, 401k plans, that all gets incorporated into one company.
So when we see all these little guys, that we used to go see, these doctors, when we're looking at it, really it's to our benefit that they've taken the steps necessary to probably secure their own business before they go bankrupt.
They should, yeah, it does. It helps them. Helps them in every direction. So, it also helps the patient. And when you look at it is now that doctor has more time to spend with you, where they have less time before, where they have to stay on top of billing and everything else. Well, here now that doctor is specifically for one thing.
Awesome. So we know at CMM coverage, you handle, obviously, employer benefits?
Employer benefits, correct.
Okay. So not necessarily consumer. So we wouldn't necessarily direct a consumer to give you a call. We would direct them to go to the marketplace.
New York State, yes.
Or to
New York State of Health, yep.
But if somebody had other questions related to their insurance, whether it be life insurance policies or any other types of insurance, tell them where they can contact you.
They can reach me at Legaspi at CMM Coverage, or the main line is 631-738-9100 is a direct line. They can ask for me.
Awesome. So we are out of time this morning, but like I tell everybody who tunes into the show, they could visit www.thediversityprojectli.com. All of our guests and sponsor information will be on our website. Feel free to touch base, ask questions, and of course, stay tuned. We have more amazing guests coming up talking about healthcare.